again, be careful of who your friends are, because they will influence your consciousness and affect your meditations. I mean, I myself, I don't have a lot of friends. And it's not because it's, I'm like, get away from me or something. Probably the first thing is how many people really can relate to my life being a kind of renunciate, where my focus is God. This is it. I'm not interested in anything else. So it's like, can you find people who are of like mind, who are willing to come here and say, hey, let's get together. We want to be here and establish presence and connect to the energy. Like, that would be a date for me, Girl comes along and says, would you like to go on a presence date with me? And we can have a good time. Would you like to chant with me? Oh, you have a mala? Great. We're going to be good friends. This is a mala, by the way. A rosary and a mala is the same thing. So find like-minded people, because they say where two or more are gathered here in my name, that I will be there, which is so true. The more people come together and really focused on the presence, it creates a bigger impact. Your prayer is much more powerful in a group of people than just doing it alone as well. So that's why I love, having the church. And everyone says, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to keep cultivating this energy, until death. See, you know how your next lifetime is determined? Your consciousness when you die. What is your consciousness? If your consciousness is worried, you get incarnated into another worried family. And people are, it just keeps revolving over and over and over again with the same people who are bothered. When you really work on yourself, and at the end, the last word you're speaking is Allaha. Guess where you go? Your next family will be very spiritual, oriented towards spirituality, and you will be encouraged to find your soul in that family. So what a great boon to be born into a spiritual family. It makes a really big difference. Why? Because you qualified for it. You worked in your past lifetime really hard to get to this point where you wouldn't forget in the next lifetime, because most people forget. And then they have to kind of remember, oh, I'm here to find my soul. I'm not here to achieve a bunch of material things and make myself famous and rich. That's not why we come here. We come here to evolve in consciousness. If riches come, fine. Give it away. Give it to the poor. Give it to charities. Give it to the needy. Give it to build beautiful temples and shrines to help people remember God. We need that more than we need successful corporations. The United States now is kind of built on that, is so-called successful corporations. We have that already. We need genuinely spiritual people who are holding up a torch and saying, look at the light. So I don't know if someone had another comment or question.
Well, I was just going to say how I appreciate your very simple words about to notice the physical reactions that we have when we're, like for myself, my shoulders inside lifted when you were speaking about, hang on to that. During the first chant, I had some very specific internal reactions, and I'm going to remember about that, going forward, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So she's talking about actually recognizing the presence.
Yes.
This is a key thing. I think you were walking around in your daily life and completely ignoring the presence. But when you tune in, you can feel it's a buoyancy, it's a rising. It's almost like I'm being pushed up into another dimension. And then, so I'll give you another symptom of presence, is your vision starts to diffuse. So the boundary between the chair and the air and the floor starts to kind of meld. So you don't feel so much of the separation between the chair and the floor and the air, because your eyes start to see things more as a one. as opposed to separate things. The way ego works is me and you. That's what ego is. It's me. I'm the center of the world. But when you start to diffuse, you start to feel yourself dissolve into the environment. That's a symptom of presence. And people will feel that. They'll go into states like that when they're around you because you're emanating an energy of presence. Then they'll want to be around you and sit because there's something about you. There's like this it factor. God, I feel so just wide, peaceful around her. What is she doing? Is it her perfume? Or whatever. It's like that. So, and then you will benefit others through your own spiritual work that you're doing. Don't think this is a selfish process. You're doing it also for others so that they can tune into your presence when you're around them. Yeah, you had a...
So you're saying we have to come back and do this again?
Over and over and over, continuing. Every single day, it never ends. Until you are completely dissolved into presence. Here's, what a great question. That's like the best question of the whole day.
Like many.
Right? So it's important to understand that our ultimate destination is God. I'm not saying that, you're not already there, because everything is God. Everyone says that, God is infinite, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient. We've all heard that. We're saying that, but we don't experience ourselves as everywhere. We experience ourselves in a body and a mind, running around doing things on a planet. But the God-conscious beings literally feel themselves, and I'm saying literally, I'm not saying like imagining as if their real experience is I am, or I am everywhere. And so when you're in front of a being like that, they are you. They don't see you as you. In a way, you are part of their cosmic body. You can reach that state of what you call God consciousness. Absolutely. But what it requires is exactly what you're saying. Every day, continuing to look towards God and attune with the tools. That's why I'm trying to share some tools, at least so people, if they feel inspired, they can use it for themselves as a tool. It's like something tangible. You got it in your hand. You can use it. Not just a philosophy. It's like something you do that results in an expanded state of presence that if you do every day, you'll continue to progress deeper and deeper and deeper until at some point you're dissolved. And then at that time, the whole thing about birth and death ends. You're done with the game. Because birth and death happens to the person who believes in separation of I am a human. It's human consciousness. That's what gets us caught in it. So we're breaking out of it and it's a worthwhile task, because I don't know if you've noticed the amount of suffering you've experienced just in this one lifetime. This is tough, living this life. It's very difficult. But there's a chasm of a difference between the person who's in human consciousness versus in divine consciousness. The divine conscious being is always in bliss, no matter what the circumstance is. Radiantly happy, never ending. That's why they can serve. Otherwise, the individual person is stuck trying to get their needs met and get their desires met. So they can't help. That's why I try to define what the saint was. A person who doesn't need something for themselves, who gives it all away, because they don't have any problems of their own anymore. It doesn't occur to them. They don't have any worries or concerns. They have gone beyond fear,